Why I moved back to my hometown. I spent 11 years abroad in London, United Kingdom. I left when I was 18. I thought that I will be running after my skateboarding dream, and I was doing that for a while. I started skateboarding when I was like 13, like every season, because in Lithuania we have very cold winters when you can't really skate. We don't have any indoor skate parks. Lithuania is ex-USSR, so I guess like a third world country, not anymore, but still the mentality hasn't changed that much, I don't think. Like the problem doesn't go away, it just changes shape. I can I can really guarantee you that. The mentality needs to change. The structures, the systems, the laws, I don't think it's very, it doesn't really matter. It depends on the individual now, I think. So I left because I felt it will be better in another country. And I lived there for 11 years. I worked all sorts of jobs. I had many relationships. I was married at one point. I got divorced after 3 years. And then after that, everything started to sort of change, where I started to come back to myself. I was 27. And I think I started to realize that I I am not doing that well. I stopped lying to myself that much that I am well. So more and more thoughts started to come to my head why I should go back home, because I had no idea why I was living where I was living, because it was very difficult, and yeah, it was not very how can I put it, sustainable. It wasn't sustainable. So I packed my bags. It was 2022, and I left and I came back home. And I think one of the main reasons I wanted to come back was my grandpa passed away 2017. And from then on, he was like a father figure to me. He was like like a dad, because my dad was away working a lot. I didn't see him that much. I needed like a father figure, so I think he was that father figure for me when my dad wasn't around. And when he passed away, I started to think more and reflect more on what's really important. So I came back. Um, 2022, now it's 2025, so it's nearly 3 years since I came back, and I can tell you that it hasn't been easy, because in a way it has been easy. So I'm so used to being stressed out and running after chasing the pound, chasing the dollar, chasing the euro, that when I don't have to do that, my brain still wants to do that. And here, everything is much cheaper. So when you come from a country like United Kingdom, where you had pounds and then you transfer it to euros, you kind of have a bit more money. Now it evens out, but my mentality has changed. So, I had some savings. I didn't have that much, like it was a few £1,000, but it was that safety that I had, that I always thought that I needed, but it was actually not that. It wasn't that at all. It was more like I needed mental support, because right before I left the UK, 8 months before I left, I stopped drinking. I stopped just abusing my body in terms of substances. And it was so difficult. It was so difficult to just live my life sober. And I started to question everything. I was like, what am I, who am I, what am I doing, And I thought about relapsing a few times, but I said to myself that I'm not going to drink. So when I came back home, it hit me, that I'm back home. I've lost, I'm a loser. Like everything I set out to myself to do when I was like, 18 years old or even younger, I didn't do. So, who are you? Why are you doing this? Like, so for a long time, I was still blaming myself. But every morning I woke up, and because I have my parents' flat here that I'm staying at, because my parents live in Norway. They left soon after. My mom and my brother left soon after I left Lithuania. And so the flat is here, it's just sitting there, collecting bills. So I thought, why not to use this space, So I was brought up here. I grew up here. I was born here. My dad inherited this flat from his parents, and, so it's just sitting there, and I don't think they're gonna sell it, just because they want to have somewhere to come back when they, come back from Norway, and they come back quite often. So I think a lot of people in Lithuania live this way because it's just not cohesive living. It's not very cohesive living outside of Lithuania and coming back and going away and coming back. But it's I think it's mentally less straining, to do that. Maybe it's not less straining actually, but for some people it feels like it's less straining. But for me, I was living on my own for a long time, and when I look at my parents, they always lived together. When I look at my brother, he once he had his first girlfriend, he stuck with her. So I was never like that. I was always like looking for that perfect whoever, perfect place to live, perfect, person, and just spun in circles, like not realizing that the real problem was here. So when I started to go to AA meetings, when I started to go to therapy, which somehow the universe set up like that. When you're unemployed, you can get free 30 sessions therapy at my local, not a hospital, but something like that, like a health center. So I started to go to therapy, and believe it or not, it started to help. So, because I think mentally I was so broken, I was like, I had many different jobs. I had many different girlfriends. Something was obviously wrong. I didn't know what was wrong. I thought that I was fine. Deep inside, I thought that I was fine, but I wasn't fine. So, you know, whomever is watching this, I really suggest you, look into that. Look into psychology. If you don't want to see a therapist, just look into behaviors and patterns. But really, I knew about psychology, but I didn't know what I didn't know what to do with it. So one thing is, your traumas, what happened that was wrong in your life, but you don't know how to get out of the negative patterns, of negative cycles that are, imprisoning you in this cycle that you just don't, you can't get out. So, you're kind of screaming inside, and you just don't know what is going on. Um so when I started to go to therapy, things started to sort of slowly heal. It's almost like my life was like running at 100 miles an hour for a long time, and just a couple last years it started to like slow down, and sometimes it still speeds up, like I want to like run away. My worst thing is that I run away, like either from a relationship or from a place where I live, or from a flat where I was when my dad would come back drunk. I just didn't feel safe, so anytime I don't feel safe, I just flee. And yeah, that's that's basically it. So now I'm starting to feel more and more safe. Job opportunities are coming. I am not struggling that much mentally. Like, I'm financially, like, I'm not rich, but I have some money. I've learned to save really and just cook my own food, like take the time to like clean up the house, cook my own food, go for walks. Like, I didn't allow myself to do this. Like, don't allow my inner child to paint whatever I want to paint. Like, let it all out. Like, it's just a piece of paper. It's not gonna hurt you. But started to allow myself to paint in general, to paint bigger pictures, because I didn't allow myself to do even that. So I have the space now to create. The space was always here, but nobody could speak to me. Nobody could tell me anything. Nobody could tell me what to do. So how can you speak to somebody if they're not listening? So I wasn't listening. And I think I wasn't listening to myself. I was listening to all these things that I wanted to do, all these fashions, all these, like, whatever was the trend, and it's all from not being safe, all from not having the safe sort of nucleus of a family, you know? Like, so you run, you run, and now I feel like I don't need to run anymore. Like, I am the nucleus, I am the I am now where I was born. I'm not running away from it, you know. I'm not doing my best. I know that I'm not doing my best, but I'm sure that I'm doing better than what I was when I was in London, because first of all, I don't wake up at 3 a.m. with a palpitating heart that says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And I was just breathing deeply and couldn't sleep. Any crack, any sound was like waking me up. So I'm not doing that. Um I'm waking up early. I'm going to bed quite early. I have a good night's sleep. Yes, I'm taking some medication because I went to a mental hospital couple of months ago, but that was because of substance abuse. Because if I don't use anything, I'm fine. If I don't spend time with people that are bad for me, I'm fine. Bad for me in terms of, if they influence me in a negative way. Like, I rather spend time alone these days, and I'm fine with that. Actually, I'm much better with that because nobody can tell me what to do, and I like to keep that independence. You know, not very good with finding a relationship, but I have plenty of relationships. They're not necessarily like intimate, sexual, or relationship in the traditional sense, but I have a conversation with people. I have, and that fuels me for the day. I don't need that much, you know. A friend mentioned to me, she's like, "Are you in a withdrawal stage, withdrawal from life?" And I'm thinking about that now. Am I withdrawing from life? It could be true, but at the same time, I don't know what else to do. Maybe one thing I need to do is be grateful and be grateful for what I have, you know, and for what I am and where I was born, and, you know, people that surround me make me who I am. So even somebody that I knew years ago, I speak to them now, and, you know, they give me an insight about something, and things are connecting in my head. I'm like, oh, this is why this is happening. Oh, she said this, or he said that. Maybe that's why, you know, like, I try out new things, I try out new jobs. Going for a job interview today. So that just came out of nowhere. And I just need to sit back, relax, observe, and everything's happening, you know, and do my work, do my painting. Because one of the main reasons for coming back was I realized I needed to create, I needed to paint, and the cheapest place where I could be is back home, where the house is empty. I have everything for myself. So, and even then, I don't allow myself to do, you know, a lot of things. So, just thinking about that, why I came back to my hometown. That's the video now that I wanted to share with you guys, and mainly this, because this is in my head. It needs to come out. It needs to be let out. It needs to be, it needs to develop. It needs to, you know, be shown. So, to whoever's listening, you know what to do. You know what to do. Hold on. You've got this. Your talents are waiting for you to show them to this world. You know, I might not be here forever. I mean, I'm definitely not going to be here forever, but I might leave, I might move out, I might go to another place, but I want to do it consciously now, not running away from anything, especially from myself. So, you know, if you're listening, if you like what you see, make sure to subscribe, like, share, watch the next video. I think it should be over here, or maybe over here, or maybe it will come up over here or there, but I think it should be here. So I will be sharing more content, and thank you for listening to me, the genuine me. Yeah. Um, Peace and love. Comment anything, any questions, I'll answer. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.